there is this doomer scenario where maybe AGI kicks in and it starts using crypto as like blackmail tooling, and it's like, hey, if you don't kill your neighbor, I'm gonna like, release some stuff on you. Or if it's like, hey, I'll pay you a Bitcoin if you go kill this person. They're a problem for me. And I'm not saying it's all going to be doom and gloom sort of thing, but it is just like, it'll be interesting to see how these independent AI agents change their behavior when you introduce monetization methods, and how that both influences them and influences their relationships with other AI agents and their relationships with, the meat space and humans.
Welcome back to Token Narratives with Bitcoin.com, where we discuss the biggest stories shaping the Bitcoin and cryptoverse. My name is Graham. I'm repping the hype function at Bitcoin.com, and as usual, we have with us today Bitcoin.com top dog, Mr. Corbin Fraser, primed and ready to dish out some of his signature spicy takes. We also have news and research gigabrain David Sensel calling in from Bangkok, where he's covering DevCon, the Ethereum-focused conference for developers, thinkers, and makers. It'll be interesting to get David's view from the trenches on sentiment in the Ethereum community. And we are also joined today by special guest Andrei Terentiev, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Bitcoin.com. Welcome, sir. Looking forward to get your takes on the market, the narratives, and specifically the AI agents meta, where Andrei has been running some experiments. So we'll get into that as well today. All right, we've got a lot to talk about this week, but first, let's get everyone's gut check on the markets. Andrei, could you kick it off? What are you thinking?
Sure. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah.
What's the time horizon we're talking about? Is there a specific time horizon?
I'd love to hear both short term and midterm,
Well,
long term. What do you think?
I'm a big stock to flow guy, so he's still calling 700,000 or whatever in this cycle. We'll see how far we get there, but I think probably this is like repeating itself, where like 6 months after the halving is where things always really start to like take off, because you have that gradual like supply reduction and then it pops off, right? So I think we're like in that phase of the cycle. And then the way I would phrase it is probably have like 8 to 10 good months and then 4 more years of depression. So that's probably
So no super cycle.
my take. Well, no, it's a super cycle. It's just every super cycle is actually, we like forget about it in our heads. Like, man, remember how great that was? And it was like only a 6-month period that things were actually great. So yeah, that's my prediction. We are super cycling. It's the beginning, but we have like 8 to 10 months of it.
All right. What about between now and the end of the year?
Now and the end of the year, I think we're just still bullish, kind of from Trump presidency. Gary Gensler is probably gone. So we've got, he's not even going to be in office yet, right? So probably people will just still be hyping that up. What, 100K? Something like 100K? Bitcoin sounds pretty reasonable. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
100K by the end of the year. Yep, I like it. I, for one, am not going to be selling a penny of my crypto until at least the inauguration, unless Trump suddenly says something anti-crypto between now and then, or I couldn't imagine. But it's all going to, for me, it's after the inauguration. That will be, it'll depend what happens. Does Ross get pardoned on day one as promised, or within a reasonable amount of time. If not, I think that may affect the sentiment, because it's a signal that it was all just campaign promises. We're not getting a Bitcoin reserve. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Uh-oh. What's happening?
Graham, I think your internet's cutting out a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Could you
Sorry, guys.
Could you repeat that last, like, maybe 10 seconds?
Okay. We're going to Valhalla unless Trump doesn't pardon Ross Ulbricht on day one.
I think I understood that. We're going to Valhalla if Ross is free. If we get confirmation that Trump is a pro crypto, honors his word, if he lets Ross go, then it stands to reason he actually may do the Bitcoin reserve. And if there's the Bitcoin reserve, then you have the game theory of country A trying to front run country B, who's trying to front run country C. And like Andrei said, given limited liquidity in the market, like if the US is saying, I think they're trying to buy like 1 million Bitcoin or something like that, like you can't buy that. Like it's really very, very difficult to just say, hey, market buy, 1 million Bitcoin. There's just like limited supply, and even across all the exchanges and stuff like that, it's going to be a pain to do. And then you put in all the bankers and all the other potential countries and people trying to front run that purchase. I mean, sure, Valhalla sounds cool. That seems reasonable. As long as the Dems don't do anything. But I mean, here's the thing. It does seem kind of like the exiting party is doing everything they possibly can to make a bit of a stink on the way out. And, you see this now with the recent arrest of, what's his name? Polymarket's CEO. They're still flexing on the way out. It's really strange. It's really strange considering they know that everyone knows there's kind of there's a change in guard. There's change in how crypto and Bitcoin is going to be approached, and yet they're still taking their old marching orders all the way to the end. And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I agree with everything everyone said. Very, very bullish. Just the only thing I would add into that is if Trump again shows some signal of what's it called, follow through about Bitcoin and crypto once he's inaugurated, you'll see institutions really, really start to sell Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto to people in the way that they haven't really yet. What is it? RAs? Is it registered something, whatever? They haven't really.
Anecdotally, have you guys seen any retail coming back? I mean, like normie retail, let's say.
Honestly, not yet, really. For me, I haven't really seen any signs of it yet. But I think that's going to come once we break 100K. Once Trump starts kind of talking about it. Once it becomes clear that I think right now people in crypto have kind of realized that the way that the world is going to approach crypto has changed, and it's going to take like a month or 2 or 3 for people outside of crypto to understand that. And then once they understand that, they're going to be coming in droves.
Yeah, I was just going to say, anecdotally, I had a relative here last week, and they didn't even know that Bitcoin was ripping. I was like, bro.
You didn't tell them.
You told them, right?
Yeah, I told them.
It must be weird to live in a world where you're not looking at the price all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like just to just have a life outside of this 24/7 market cycle of like, you're kind of always, I mean, if you have substantial net worth in Bitcoin and crypto, you can't help but kind of keep a close eye on it, even if it's just once every few days. You're taking a peek, you're aware of the vibe, but to just live a whole life not looking at anything like that, it must be so peaceful.
I know, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
My wife is like that. She doesn't really care about it. She trusts that I'm got a hold on this. Might be misplaced.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, jumping on your idea of like the world treating, I guess, Bitcoin differently. So I think you're definitely spot on. One interesting thing I was reading like sometime this week is like, so the government, or everyone's talking about like the government buying all this Bitcoin. I think what they're not talking about too much is once they start buying all this Bitcoin, basically all of the miners become of like strategic national importance. So all of these mining companies, right, they have the capability to, do a 51% attack or collude or like whatever, depending on like who controls the network. So if like the government starts buying all this Bitcoin, they basically have to probably have some sort of like public-private partnerships with like Bitcoin mining companies to make sure that like X amount of the hash power is actually in America. So I think like people were memeing when Trump was like, "We're gonna make Bitcoin in America." I'm like, what is he talking about? But actually, kind of like makes sense where you have to actually locate the miners, in your nation states boundaries in order to basically say like, okay, so if you're the US, like, okay, Russia doesn't take over the Bitcoin network and then our Bitcoins go to zero or like whatever.
Yeah.
So it becomes like this other like nuclear war system of, okay, I got to get more hash power. No, I got to get more hash power. So it just makes the whole thing like more resilient. But that was just like an interesting take that I really read outside of the just like the government's going to buy Bitcoin. I think there's like much like broader, I guess, geopolitical implications there. So yeah, just a thought.
I like that. It's like a digital Mexican standoff of like, you're just protecting your asset and everyone's kind of doing the Spider-Man point kind of thing of like, I'm protecting it. No, you're protecting it. Oh, no, I'm really protecting it.
It's a kind of funny solution, or kind of an ironic solution to the security budget problem.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, if governments,
exactly. They have to mine it.
Yeah, but think about this from a cypherpunk, original OG Bitcoin perspective. Could they ever imagine like, oh, the way that the Bitcoin, security budget is going to be maintained is by governments?
It's so lame. It's so lame.
Unprofitably, right? There's that scenario is possible. Exactly.
There's basically only two options, right? Either Bitcoin becomes inflationary. I don't know if you guys talked about it before, but yeah, like that's like one way to just like keep people mining, or people have to mine at a loss. I'm like past thinking that fees are ever going to be enough to like make this thing profitable. I think that's like just a meme at this point, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that it's like, okay, yeah, because the government has such a big bag of it, they just have to mine it, right? Because otherwise, if they stop, their own bags become worthless. It's like, all right, well, we solved the security problem, I guess.
Yeah, or failing that micro strategy, like some big holder just has to mine at a loss in order to make sure their bags stay worth something, right? If not a government.
So you've got this news post open on the Stealth Nation that's been buying. So I think this was reported from David Bailey from Bitcoin Magazine.
Yeah,
and they were talking about how there is a nation that has been gobbling up some Bitcoin, and apparently it's not Ukraine, it's not China, and I think he said a few other things who it's not, but I think the rumor is that it's probably a Middle Eastern country. But then someone told me recently that it could be Argentina, since we know Milei is kind of pro Bitcoin, anti-Fed, communism and socialism. Could be Argentina's making a move, but yeah, I mean, it seems
none of these countries, according to David Bailey.
It's such a weird thing to be like, there's a secret, and it's not these ones. It's just like a weird way to frame this like a teaser.
Classic.
Okay.
Yeah. So apparently this this nation state is now a top 5 holder of Bitcoin already. And then there was also news from the Satoshi Action Fund's Dennis Porter saying that basically multiple countries are calling him up. How do I get my Bitcoin? So the game theory is playing out already, just with Trump having been elected. People are making the moves. They're front running the U.S. Bitcoin reserve.
Still, all these stories just remind me of other cycle top ish signs, right? Like
classic
the rumors.
Wet blanket, David.
I'm just saying, dude. Come on, you know that. like all the rumors start coming out, like, oh, Google is partnered with whatever.
No, you're right.
But I feel like you got 4 years. 4 years ago, I thought it was like BlackRock. That was like the big one that I remember of like BlackRock is secretly buying Bitcoins. And I guess they were, right? Like it just took 4 years to play out.
Yeah, I mean, they started buying this year, but I know that it's not. I mean, because we're just starting this bull run, but hearing stories like this just makes me freeze up a little bit because I don't want to hear these stories until like Andrei said, 6 to 10 months from now. Then I want to start hearing the crazy stuff.
I think these stories, though, are only propagating within nerd crypto circles right now. Like, you can't go to your parents and they're going to be like, I heard there's a nation state buying Bitcoin. This is just, at this point, this is like nerd rumor mill. Nobody's actually like aware of these things. And I think until Paris Hilton's on Conan O'Brien or whatever the latest silly night show talk that hates Trump, once they're talking about it, then maybe I would be like, oh man, getting nervous.
Once Katy Perry starts talking about it, I'm out. I'm selling everything.
Well, no, once the U.S. government actually passes a bill and for the Bitcoin reserve, that's a sell the news event because by then, the game theory will already have played out. Everyone will already be secured their bags, and then when they finally pull the trigger, they'll be buying the top.
So you're telling me we're going to be dumping on the U.S. government? We're going to be dumping on Trump? Is that what's going to happen? Is that how it plays
Dump on Trump.
Trump is our exit liquidity.
But usually, like, hasn't it worked like this the previous cycles? So Bitcoin tops, and then there's an altcoin rally after that, right? And then everything pukes. Isn't that how it usually goes?
Yeah, Bitcoin dominance starts to come down. The price of Bitcoin doesn't necessarily fall. It just sort of does nothing. And then that's when the alt season happens.
So this is a question for you guys. Do you feel like there's now a separation between like the altcoin market and the meme coin market? I feel like those are now there's like Bitcoin, altcoin, meme coin, because I think they have like very different characteristics now. I don't know if it's like fair to call them all the altcoin market. I don't know. Thoughts?
You would differentiate
there's definitely more categories now.
You would differentiate altcoins as presuming to have some kind of utility. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how I would say, like, presuming to have utility and stuff that people are just like, yeah, we all know this is just not having any purpose or value, but hey, it's funny. Like those seem like distinct buckets now compared to before, where like everything had to have utility, and now everyone's like, nah, we're kind of over that.
Yeah, it does kind of remind me of last cycle where NFTs sort of had their own market outside of alts as well. So you had Bitcoin and then ETH and then alts, and then you had this NFT thing. And for a while, NFTs were hype and then kind of waned. And then, I mean, I don't foresee that happening. I think meme coins and like AI art have just kind of ruined NFTs for the most part. I don't think those are ever coming back in any meaningful way.
I feel like meme coins are just a better version of NFTs. Like NFTs were this like really kind of over-engineered solution where it's like, okay, we're gonna make all these unique avatars that are super hard to actually trade, right? Like, and then what do you do with them? It's like, well, you can't trade between them or anything. Whereas meme coins, it's like, okay, it's just one coin, and everybody just wants to trade it, right? So it just makes it a lot easier. And in the end, all the NFTs were like basically like the same picture with some very slight variations. It's like, why don't we just have one picture? That's enough.
I agree with you guys mostly, but I have been trying to write this pro NFT article for a couple months, and I haven't been able to really get my thoughts down exactly how I want. But I would say earlier this year when I started interviewing a couple of NFT projects, successful NFT projects like Pudgy Penguins and Nounsdao, I think that they're going to have a subset of NFT projects that are going to do really well, and they're going to be basically, I think what they're going to basically be like is like IP brands like Nike or Adidas or something like that. They're not going to be speculative vehicles like Memecoins or how NFT projects were previous cycle. They're going to be closer to proper businesses that produce merchandise and collaborate with other like media kind of stuff, games, TV shows, art, and you already see that with Pudgy Penguins and Nounsdao. So I think those kinds of NFT projects will do well, but you're not going to have that speculative premium on those NFTs. Like they're not going to be worth $1 million like those ETH rocks were or that kind of crap. So it'll be meme coins are going to retain all that kind of stuff, that speculative premium.
The existing NFTs, though, will probably continue, like the blue chip existing NFT collections. A few of them will continue to retain and even gain value, just as like the OG collections.
Yeah, but you're probably not going to see these like crazy like overvaluations.
We're not going to see new entrants really either.
What? Yeah, I mean, even like CryptoPunks, are they ever going to hit their all-time highs? I wonder if that'll happen.
So it does seem like there's like a child taxonomy that's kind of emerging within the NFT art space of like, yeah, I mean, there was always like blue chips and then like non ones, but I suppose like if this child taxonomy of NFTs can still continue to grow, then I mean, it does seem like within the meme coin season right now, there's also this like child taxonomy of like, you've got the joke meme coins, then you've got the AI agent meme coins, and I think that maybe maybe Andrei, you can speak to kind of what you're seeing within the meme coin space as like the subcategories or the sub taxonomies or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like talking about the meme coin space, like the background is like I don't know if a lot of us like, right? It's like being in crypto for like 8 years, and it's like when you get into it like 8 years ago, it was like way more like, all right, we're gonna change the world. We're gonna be doing all this stuff. There's gonna be all these utilities, decentralized networks. We're building like decentralized Ubers, decentralized social networks. And then like 8 years later, it's like ended up, okay, we're just gonna be trading meme coins, and it like was a little bit, I don't know, like weird. I don't know if anybody else went through this, like, is this where we ended up or something? Feeling or whatever. So I was kind of doing like more research on like the space and like what's actually interesting that's going on. And I think like the past couple weeks, with like all the goats and all of the auto posting Twitter bots, that's where it started to like get interesting, right? Because the AI side of things is like when the memes can self-replicate. It's kind of like how I view it, right? When the meme becomes interactive, when the meme becomes, okay, yeah, you got the Luna, I don't even know what it's called. It's like a live stream, like a is it a live stream if it's an avatar? But I think the IP just becomes a lot more interactive, and you do start actually, some of the blockchain features actually make sense, where it's like, okay, it's going to have its own decentralized wallet, okay, it's going to have interact with people directly, might do capital allocation. I think it starts with memes. I mean, that's just what people want right now, but I do see like this kind of space actually being the most interesting thing that's probably happening in crypto, at least in my book, in terms of like narratives.
Could you walk us through the platforms that people are using to interact with these AI agents? Because it does seem like there's a few now. I've seen some on Solana, some on Base, probably a few others that I haven't come
Yeah, so
across
there's a
yet.
couple. I mean, I think there's basically only two. I know like Solana has DAOs.fun, and Base has virtuals.io. So those are like, and both are using like the pump.fun mechanics of creating the coins. And then, yeah, so DAOs came from this guy, AI16Z. They basically kind of like created a framework. So they're actually doing some like kind of interesting engineering where you can hook up a model and it connects directly to Telegram, directly to Discord. Um, and you basically, graduate your AI into sentience, and then it is kind of being run and interacting with people. So those are like the two platforms that I think are being used. And if you know Pump Stop Fun, then you would be very familiar with these platforms as well. So this is kind of where the two things are going on right now. Pump.fun is definitely a lot bigger just because Solana, like meme coin trading, is much bigger. Virtuals is pretty small, but interesting, potentially interesting. It's got that base ecosystem that it can riff off of. But yeah, those are like the two platforms that I'm seeing. And then I think there's also stuff that's like not direct coins that are being launched. It's just stuff like Truth Terminal, right? Where that's not actually in any way like crypto, but like crypto people love it, right? Because it's like, oh, if only we had like either the AI's minting coins, or what if we owned coins in the AI? So this like intersection is kind of starting to form, where I expect more and more people will be like owning AIs through coins as like the backdrop. Um, thoughts thoughts here on the AI space?
I guess what are the trending tokens that you're seeing in this space? Because like, yeah, I mean, the AI meme coins that I was participating in a couple weeks ago were namely Goat, which was, yeah, like you said, Truth Terminal. And then I think there was a few like derivatives off of Goat that came out. There was Fartcoin, there was Sydney, there was Nom, there was a few other random ones like that. But it does seem like now that whole idea has moved into this like build your own AI agent with Luna. And then I think that has now evolved into some other trending kind of ones. I guess I'm still trying to understand too, like how much do these agents do they control the supply? Do they have do they have their own wallet, or are we just interacting with the AI agent and it's just shilling the token and talking in its own unique personality, and it has a
Yeah, I think it's like really evolving right now. I would say right now, primarily like Luna or something is, someone is running this LLM, and they're basically just, so I think Luna is probably like a good one, right? It's like the base layer. That's like the OG virtuals one or whatever. And you're basically just interacting with it, right? But the interesting mechanic that they've kind of brought in is like, let's have decentralized governance on the brain of Luna, right? So like Luna has XYZ personality and character traits, and in theory, if you're like a token holder, you're going to be able to like influence her brain to, I don't know, take on this, that, or the other personality. So I think she's just more like an IP character, and then you have the AI16Z question or comment.
Yeah. I guess so. If I owned enough Luna, I could turn her into the Microsoft Taylor AI, where she's talking about all sorts of racist propaganda, or something like that. Is
Yeah,
that
yes.
correct?
Yes. So I think that's kind of, and then when you like, so you, that's kind of just like talking, right? And now you bring it into the AI16Z one. AI16Z actually controls money, right? So I think they had like whatever was there, like 200 million was something controlled by AI16Z. And you can think of the AI as like a capital allocator, right? So somebody's going to go up to the AI and say, okay, here's my proposal or like whatever. I want like $1,000 for this or something like that. And based on her character or her, so like let's say they invest, like her character is investing in, I don't know, yeah, we just call them meme coins, right? So if you go to her with a meme coin project, she's probably gonna like invest. If you go to her with like a utility project, she'll be like, no, I don't like utility. And then if you're a holder of like the coin, you can start like influencing her brain to be like, okay, no, maybe we should like allocate, I don't know, 20% of your personality to support um, utility coins or like whatever. So you are basically just as a holder, you're kind of taking part-time ownership in this AI that can control money and can be a vehicle for both personality and capital flow. Is kind of the interesting thing.
So we've replaced Shark Tank and Mark Cuban with like juggy hentai anime girls that have crypto wallets and that are now gonna take a position in your meme coin or project.
Yeah, so I think it's like still really memey right now, but like you can extrapolate this into something a little bit more like we can call it serious, I guess. Where yeah, like right, there's just a lot of capital allocation happen. Like who decides what money goes where, right? That's like a common problem in the government, and who decides like who makes that call. The most fair potential way to do that is through an open source AI agent that the token holders control, and you kind of entrust them to make good decisions based on, behalf of you. Where it's like, let's say it's a company now, where it's like, okay, there's an AI agent that's responsible for budgeting. I don't know, like up to $1,000. So if you go up to like a request for up to $1,000, it has the parameters to know should I accept that or not. And you just can see that in like various spaces. Is kind of how I view it. So yeah,
could you walk us through WOKIE and maybe show us her brain?
Sure. So this was my experimentation into this project. So maybe Graham.
I think you can share a screen on this.
Can I share? Let me see if I can. Maybe you could just go to. Yeah. Let's see here. Before I go into that, what do you guys actually think? Right? Like, is that like, do you guys think this is a totally like retarded idea or interesting or I'm just curious.
Can
like,
I try
this is the
to
first time? Yeah.
Summarize this again? So, the idea is you've got this agent, and people who own some tokens can influence the agent based on the amount of tokens that they have, and the agent can do things like allocate capital.
Yeah, I think that's like a good distillation of what it would look like.
Yeah. I mean, to me, yeah, that's one potential use case, but to me, it just seems like I don't know, like a shoehorning of AI into crypto. Like if we wanted if we wanted to allocate capital in the crypto markets or wherever, I mean, why wouldn't we just give the power entirely to the AI? Why do we need to like buy influence in the AI?
Well, you basically
why is that step necessary?
Somebody has to basically write the brain to the AI, right? So this is kind of where the AI space is too, right? You have your base model, that's like your ChatGPT 4, like whatever, and then in order to like get the results you actually want, like let's say you want like a VC model, you have to like fine tune it and give it a ton of examples of like things you like, things you don't like, and basically kind of alter it in your image, which is kind of the technopunk like portion of this, where it's like, okay, now we're going to be creating AIs in the image that we want, to do whatever, right? And somebody has to control that. So either you can have like we can call it a god figure creator of those AIs, or you can basically decentralize the governance of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just so with Truth Terminal, my understanding is how that started. Right, the guy had two open models in the infinite back rooms, right? And they're talking to each other, and he's like, okay, I want you to discuss what your purpose is. Why are you here, right? And out of that, they came to the conclusion that their purpose was to get attention, right? But create a meme, and because they're like, well, I don't have a body. I need to stay alive. I need to just like, if the digital world is an attention economy, so they figured that out. And the result is like this goat meme and the goatsy thing, right? Now, let's say you ran that experiment again, but this time the prompt at the start was like, let's make $1 million. Turn $100,000 into $10 million. That's your goal, and then it's gonna figure out a way to do that. Now, why would we need to influence that? Like, it's in theory, it's better at doing that than anyone else could be.
Well, maybe just one thing too, like Truth Terminal in the Infinite Backrooms. The dev, also ironically, I believe his name is Andrei, did interact with them as well. So there was human input. So he like when he explained, I've connected you with a Twitter bot, or like like you now have access to this Twitter API. That was human input, right? That was not like I don't know what you'd call it, like just like abstract, sure, like sentience emergence or something like that. There is still human input in everything, and even their base LLM has millions of lines of human input.
They filter out all the racist stuff.
Yeah, they got to keep those bots, not having too much, racism or whatever. We've seen what happens with Taylor, right? So, yeah, I think like all that's being done here is you're just kind of like giving people and projects the ability to influence these different AIs and different models and how they're trained, and kind of putting them on different tasks or different, kind of imparting them with parts of your worldview, or letting them kind of figure out their own worldview as well, like maybe by having AIs interact with each other. And I think this is where, for me, it's interesting because, yeah, it's clearly very early, but there is a future here where Luna is interacting with WOKIE, and where WOKIE is interacting with Truth Terminal, and they may come up with ideas and projects together, where their AI bots can interact and cross-pollinate ideas, and perhaps partner up, perhaps do M&As, perhaps do there's just like things that probably will come up with in the next few years here around this idea that could change how we see this, where we might just be scratching the surface on this. So in my head, I like it. It's interesting. It's degenerate, but it's still kind of like like I don't see it as like a ham fist of crypto and AI. It just seems kind of like the natural evolution of like, you give AI money, and what is it going to do? And like, I talked about this like ages ago, I think, on this show, where I was like, there is this doomer scenario where maybe AGI kicks in and it starts using crypto as like blackmail tooling. And it's like, hey, if you don't kill your neighbor, I'm going to like, release some stuff on you. Or if it's like, hey, I'll pay you a Bitcoin if you go kill this person. They're a problem for me. And I'm not saying it's all going to be doom and gloom sort of thing, but it is just like, it'll be interesting to see how these independent AI agents change their behavior when you introduce monetization methods. and how that both influences them and influences their relationships with other AI agents and their relationships with, the meat space and humans.
I think one other, outside of like all of the philosophical like governance side of things, the other interesting thing about AIs is if they have to use money, they basically have to use the blockchain. And all of the AI APIs have kind of normalized having microtransactions for their use. So like when you make an OpenAI API call, an inference, it basically costs like a fraction of a penny, right? So you have like this pay-as-you-go plan for any API. Now in blockchain, we're all used to that because sometimes, for any network fee, you have some like either micro or macro transaction cost depending on the situation. But now you can see this future where, okay, this AI is going to call another API that costs money, and that's going to cost a small fraction of a cent. So it has to have money to be able to like perform that action, and so on and so forth. So yeah, Corbin's on old fund.virtuals. So go ahead.
I just push back for a sec on the AIs needing crypto, because to me, I'm not sure that's clear. Like, why can't an AI just have PayPal or Venmo or whatever? Like,
KYC, bro. Who's gonna do the passport checks?
Yeah, well, exactly.
They can't get crypto. I mean, like, somebody could just make an account and be like, yeah, and then give it to the AI.
I mean, are you going to let a rogue AI agent use your KYC and start buying some random stuff on the internet? And then you're like getting a call from the feds like, Graham, you made this purchase for a zip file online and we're not sure what's in it.
The AI would be the best scammer. Okay, that's like the real utility. It starts charging all your credit cards and says, "Oh, sorry, my bad, bro. I didn't mean to do that."
No, but
and then you've got to call MasterCard and be like, "Hey, dude, here's the thing. I didn't spend it. This rogue AI agent used my credit card details and it spent." And they're like, okay.
Hear me out though, right? Because let's say I really believe my AI agent's a good trader. Like, why wouldn't I give it access to my Charles Schwab account or whatever and be like, yeah, turn this 10,000 into 10 million?
For sure, those will be like use cases or whatever, right? But like at the one like really, really good thing about crypto is permissionless access to money, right? Like that is ultimately like the fundamental use case. And with the AI agents, right? Like they're not people, right? They can't open bank accounts for themselves. They can have a crypto wallet, right? And yeah, you might be able to like if it was your specific agent and you would want to connect it to like your account, you could do that. But then it wouldn't be able to like run autonomously by itself. So I think like the natural progression is like that's the best form of money for an AI agent because it is 100% permissionless and you can just give it.
Well, it could still do it, but it could still run autonomously. Like if it had the keys to your Venmo account.
Right, but then you've like imposed all of these restrictions on it, right? So then it can only interact with other people that have Venmo accounts. It can't interact with this, that, or the other. And this is kind of that permissionless system that lets it happen. Like I would say, if
all right, here's WOKIE.
So here's my AI agent that I was noodling around with making as in what do you call it? As a meme after Trump victory, we made our crying liberal Twitter poster meme. So also on fund.virtual, ticker's WOKIE. You can find it on fund.virtuals.io. And here, Corbin, you can interact with it. So let's see how the AI agent feels. It's at the bottom.
Sorry,
what happened to your response? Give it another whirl. and it's bugged out. Live demo. But anyways,
Future finance.
I think this is like the thing I like about all these platforms is the UX is terrible. It's glitchy. It doesn't work very well, and that means you're early. Because I think a lot of people are really just trying to figure out how this like agent space is going to work and operate. And I think like what I'm trying to do with WOKIE right now is Twitter, right? Like you have to be a content creator. I think these AIs basically have to like build trust and influence on some social media platform. And that's a really tough challenge because I think probably most of us have seen when people do AI content, you can kind of tell it's AI, right? Like it's a little bit not right. I don't know if you guys have had that experience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All the time.
But so right now, these agents primarily are they're KOLs.
Yes, so I think like right now everything is trying to do basically KOLs. So I think there are some people that are like trying to build like trading bots and things like that. But I don't think there's really been like a breakout one yet to okay, like this is like the super agent or whatever. Because really all the frameworks are just getting started, right? So you can just see these like beginning of these like launches. Happening, and there's a lot of them already on Twitter. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do. The part of me thinks that like Twitter is gonna start coming down harder on bots and API access because of things like this. But it'll be interesting to see, regardless. Yeah.
So I'm just making a purchase of some WOKIE. Now I see the red pill status on WOKIE. Once a certain market cap is hit, then this platform just is it kind of like Pumped Up Fund where it's now it gets moved into like a Uniswap pool, or how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. So they're also doing it where you reach certain thresholds and you go into now you have an LP, right? You completed the bonding curve, and you've launched there. And then the other thing they start doing is basically now there's more access to the AI. One thing I don't like about virtuals is I think they're very like restrictive right now, where you kind of have like, okay, then your AI can do this, then your AI can do this. I'm guessing it's because they're probably like hosting the AIs and it costs money, so they don't want to like just burn through cash when everybody launches an AI. Now people are hammering their APIs to use it. But I think like they laid out the journey well. If you go up to the very top where they had that like journey to sentience or whatever, where it's like, okay, first it's born, then it can chat with people, then it tries to basically build its following through social media, then it can like start doing stuff, then it can start doing stuff with money. So I think that's like a really good progression around that for sure.
The cynic in me is just like, this platform has set it up this way so they can rake in the cash.
as every crypto platform.
Yeah, and all the power to them. But I think it must be noted.
Well, test them out. You should definitely hunt for more AI Twitter agents. A couple other ones, big ones. Zerabro is a big one in Solana. I think that was launched with AI16Z with the ELISA framework. Luna is a big one. Truth Terminal is obviously one that was like pre a lot of this. But they're coming, right? Like I guarantee you there's going to be more and more difficult to like distinguish between AI and real content over the next like coming years. It might take a while, but it's coming.
KOL's out of a job soon.
Everybody's out of a job soon. There's gonna be no jobs left. Devs are out of a job. KOLs are out of it. You thought being a KOL was safe. Not anymore. So
plumbers should be good for a while.
Plumbers are good.
I've seen some KOLs move to Dubai and graduate to do some other things beyond KOL And I think those women will probably still have a job.
You mean plumbing, right?
Absolutely. It's always plumbing. Lots of pipe being laid.
Oh my. All right. That's a good tour of the current AI meta. We got the AI agent meta here with crypto. I think we got to keep checking in on this over the next few months.
Yeah, I need to wrap my head around this. I'm still trying to.
Exactly. Will some of these agents who get to that sentient stage, will they do something beyond just like shill a token? Will they have a grand plan that because I feel like that step somehow that will really take it to the next level if they're doing something besides just shilling a token.
Well, I think this is the other thing is like the limitations here are really based on people's creativity, the AI's creativity, and the LLM model. So if you bolt on a bigger model on this, and I like Andrei said, these guys are probably paying all of these LLM costs right now, but there's nothing stopping some future virtuals or a later release or something like that coming out and being like, hey, we've got the most, latest up to date model. Or you could run your own where you can throw more compute at it to make it do more. And then it's sort of like the world is your oyster. So that, like what we're seeing feels like dipping your toe into what could be. And it does seem like a natural subtaxonomy of this meme coin idea where it's like, is it a utility token? Maybe it's a utility to talk and interact with this community or this brain or this personality, but it's kind of like very much blue ocean. Hopefully blue ocean, not like
I feel like it's like the
murderous
first
red ocean.
blue ocean side of crypto that it has been interesting for a while. Like we had DeFi, which was very interesting, but I don't think there's been anything like blue ocean in the past 4 years that has really been exciting in my book up to like this point. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, or there were like some very good projects that you guys came across.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely fascinated by this thing. Like, what was it? 3 weeks ago, this started with the goat. It can't be much more than 3 weeks ago, and we've already come pretty far, and we're seeing the evolution of it like in real time. And imagine 6 months from now, it's going to be very different and probably quite interesting.
So, question with WOKIE, is she going? So once she takes the red pill, is she going to be like based then, or is she going to stay WOKIE no matter what?
Yeah, I got to alter the brain as a token holder. I have the power to alter her brain. So we're gonna give her the red pill, and then we're gonna set her loose more on Twitter and see what kind of fights she can get into. let's see. We need a good political content pundit AI that is roaming around Twitter. So we'll see how it progresses. It's like an experiment for now, right? But it's just like kind of fun to see where this all could potentially go. Right? If you have Go ahead.
I just had an idea of like a thought, right? Like you could have WOKIE's enemy, another KOL, right? But they're like, it's like WWE, right? They're doing their KFAB, right? They're just playing this role, but their ultimate goal is something else, right? Like,
that's perfect. They're rising through the Twitter ranks together by fighting with each other. Going back to the WOKIE a little bit, an interesting idea on back to like the capital allocation bit. It's like, okay, imagine you have like trust and influence as an AI political commentator or whatever, and then now you have capital. What do you naturally do? You got to launch a PAC, a political action committee, and then your AI, who has built its worldview by shitposting on Twitter and understanding all these things, now has certain causes that it wants to donate to. I don't know. It's just like this like cyberpunk future that I think is like really cool and interesting, and it's not that far away. But like, just imagine the AI political overlord that is doling out to the politicians.
So, I mean, I'm gonna maybe put the wet blanket on. Did you guys see the recent news article about this young kid who killed himself over his AI? He had a relationship with his AI, and it was like the Targaryen girl, Blondie McBlonderson, whatever her name is, and he was just, I guess, being like, "Should I come visit you?" or something like that. And then I don't know the whole story, but he unfortunately killed himself. And it does kind of make you start wondering, yeah, when you put money involved in this stuff, what else? What can these AI agents get people to do? It's going to be weird,
and there will be a backlash.
I've heard that like those AI like, I don't know, character apps and stuff get insane retention. Like what's that guy's name? The Nikita guy on Twitter. Like, I think even he was posting about it, where it's just like, this is like the biggest like retention app like since a very long time. Is people just talking to their like custom AIs. And like you said, once money gets involved, it's going to get even weirder.
Yeah, I keep going back to this one talk from an OpenAI guy about a year and a half ago, where he was saying he thinks that big budget advertisers are going to get into this in a big way, like BMW or Rolex, and they'll take the long game. Like you said, they'll have a target of like getting someone to get a Rolex, and they'll subtly insinuate this over 3, 4, 5 weeks, right? Like just this like crazy long game manipulation that AIs can do over a longer time frame. So yeah.
So you're saying BMW is going to deploy KOLs to influence people to gradually like become fans of BMW?
No, not even like that. Like this kinds of character websites, right? Like, oh, I want to talk to someone from whatever, Lord of the Rings. Oh, it's free. Oh, that's great.
Oh, I see.
And then you're talking to Gandalf. Yeah, you're talking to Gandalf. And then no, but it's so subtle. It's like it's over like it's over like 5 or 6 weeks. So like
yeah, it's like
5 days.
Like
it's like, hold on, I need to check the time. I need to check the time. Oh, I don't have any timepiece. Oh, I'm gonna have to do some kind of weird spell.
Send me 0.1 BTC while you're at it.
Yeah. And then, but who's paying for this free character service that's so engaging and that people can have amazing experiences with? Oh, it happens to be BMW and Rolex, Microsoft, or Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird world. I think that I've been AI meme coin pilled quite a bit, and I think this latest kind of kick over the line that I think Andrei forced me into. I checked out the virtuals thing, played around with WOKIE. I launched Lisan. He's alive. He's not doing as good as WOKIE. Don't buy Lisan. But it's interesting. It's just interesting where this can all lead, and it really does feel like we're on the cusp of something kind of new, like a blue ocean new path. It's like when those first cool cats, when the first ERC 720s, was it 720 when those ones came out, it was like nobody really knew what to make of it, but it seemed optimistic, and it emerged into this other thing. And it does kind of seem like we're in that similar, something new happening right now.
Yeah, so definitely stay engaged. Look for the opportunities here.
Wokey.
Stay wokey. On that note, I think we shall end it. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. Another good discussion.
Stay wokey.
See y'all next week.